Hey, what's going on, guys? Spiritual Fish Lad here, narrating over Justin's video. What we got here is a dirty fish tank. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it's something that happens to all of us at some point, and it's something you need to, take care of once it happens. Now, generally speaking, having a somewhat dirty tank isn't that big of a deal, but I mean, once you've got that algae caked onto the glass, and your gravel is full of gunk and your plants are looking a little not too great, that's when you know it might be time to do a water change and a bit of maintenance. But just saying, once you've got algae in your glass, it doesn't necessarily mean that, all your fish are going to drop dead of ammonia poisoning the next day. It just means you should probably clean up for both those aesthetic purposes and just for the sake of the ecosystem. And also because for the sake of your fish, you don't want those nitrates getting too high. So the first thing you're generally going to want to do when your tank's dirty like this is just start scrubbing that algae. Now, I personally use a credit card or something similar on a smaller tank, just because, it really scrapes that algae off, but a sponge can definitely do the trick as well, or like a paper towel or something like that. Something very entertaining about the Oscar watching the tank be cleaned. Now, once all that algae's scrubbed off, it's time for the next step, which is the water change. Now, a water change is a pretty simple thing. I think everyone who has a tank does it. Now, using a siphon is probably the easiest way of doing it. Of course, if you got a smaller tank, you can just kind of stick some cups in there and pull it out, but this is easily the simplest way of doing one, plus you can get that gravel nice and clean. You can see here all that dirt is getting sucked up, and that's something you might not notice. You might think, oh, there's not much gunk going on down there, but there very clearly is, and that can lead to high levels of nitrates when there's stuff like that you don't know about, so it's important to tend to that and do occasional maintenance. Now, this tank doesn't have plants, but if it did, I personally would actually not bother with this. I'll show you my tank on screen right here, and you can see I actually leave a lot of the detritus in the gravel because it can actually provide to the plants, and the plants, suck up all the nitrate that's created by it anyways, so it's not too big of an issue. But in a tank, solely for the fish like this one, it's definitely important to do this because you've got nothing really in there to deal with those nitrates. See here, Justin's turned off the filter, and that's just gonna be less obnoxious, and now he's gonna start filling that tank up again. And there's your water conditioner. Use that so your fish don't die. I wish my fish were more interested in the water changing. They really just don't care. Or sometimes they get actually sucked up through the tube because I keep really small fish. So, definitely a bit of a different experience here with the Oscar. And cleaning and maintenance is a thing you should try to do regularly. However, as long as your tank is stable, you shouldn't have to worry about doing it strictly on a weekly basis. Some people are very strict about doing a weekly water change, and unless you have a really heavily stocked tank with a minimal planting, that's not really something you're gonna need to do. Your tank can get to a point where it's looking a little yucky, and things will probably be okay. That doesn't mean you should leave it that way, but generally speaking, you don't need to be super scheduled about your water changes. As long as you're doing maintenance every few weeks and you know your tanks well enough, it shouldn't be too big of an issue. But yeah, we're gonna watch the Oscar feed here, and that'll be the end of the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and check out my channel in the description if you liked my narration and you want to see other videos kind of like this one. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.